On the day I returned to my country, the staff told me there was a problem with my checked luggage. They led me into a room, which was covered with red roses. Katerina shyly extended her ring finger, slipped a diamond ring into my hand. Her eyes filled with affection. The Lin family all started teasing, urging me to put the ring on Katerina Lin's finger. Everyone thought I would cry and, without hesitation, marry her. After all, Katerina was the goddess I had been a simp for 5 years to finally win over. But they all forgot. 3 years ago, during the promotion evaluation, Katerina claimed I had plagiarized her senior's paper and even reported that I was an alcoholic who caused a medical accident. I was thrown out of the hospital like a dog and then beaten up by the patient's family members who rushed over. Desperate and with nowhere to go, I had no choice but to leave the country to survive. But now, old Master Lin told me, after you left, Katerina spent all her savings to settle that medical accident. She has been waiting for you to come back. These years, she often cried while holding your photo. I didn't say a word, only tightened my grip on the marriage certificate hidden in my pocket. Main text. Back then, the incident was such a huge scandal. You should have given her some time to accept it. Why did you leave in such a fit of anger? Lucas, because you left without a word. Katerina Lin has been unable to eat or sleep these past years. She's grown thin from searching for you and almost turned the entire city upside down. From the moment I stepped through the door, old Master Lin had been patting my shoulder, chattering nonstop. After several years, he had aged a lot. The sharpness in his eyes that once scorned me as unworthy of Katerina was gone. Yet his words were still as harsh as ever, though he tried to paint his daughter as deeply devoted. All I could hear was his reproach toward me. To be honest, hearing Katerina's name again felt a little strange. 3 years was more than enough to wash everything away, especially such an insignificant past. From their words, it was clear they didn't know that I was already married. I brushed old Master Lin's hand away, my face calm. Uncle Lin, Katerina and I ended things 3 years ago. I don't understand what you mean by saying all this to me. The Lin family suddenly turned to stare at me, their faces full of disbelief. They hadn't expected me to have this kind of attitude. After all, I once pursued Katerina at all costs. I even threw away the offer from Beijing Union Medical College Hospital, choosing instead the city hospital where she worked. Also, I could take better care of her. Being a doctor is an exhausting profession, yet I still made sure to prepare 3 meals a day for her. To ease her burden, I volunteered to share her surgeries, even if by the time I left the operating room, I could barely stand on my own feet. I even added her name to my own research results, just to help her get promoted faster, and to keep my own career afloat. I spent countless nights working, growing paler and more worn out with each passing day. But when Katerina agreed to my proposal, all of that felt worth it. From then on, whenever I returned to the office, I would always find a cup of coffee on my desk. On the cup, there was always a sticky note, covered in her shy love notes. When troublesome patients came to harass me, she would stand up without hesitation and speak on my behalf. As the wedding approached, she would rest in my arms while we picked venues, and she joined me in planning our honeymoon trips. During my busiest, most exhausting days, she even argued with the director on my behalf, just to make time to accompany me to get my suit tailored. When she watched me step out of the fitting room in the suit, her eyes were full of tenderness. Even the shop assistant said they had never seen a couple as sweet as us. At that time, I thought I must have accumulated great virtue in my past life to be fortunate enough to meet her in this one, until the hospital transferred in a male doctor, Fernando. From that day on, Katerina never mentioned the wedding again, and the energizing coffee disappeared from my desk. At first, I only thought she was helping the new colleague get settled, too busy to remember. I didn't disturb her, not until the sales staff notified me that the wedding venue required both me and Katerina to personally inspect it. So I knocked on her office door, unexpectedly. After hearing it, she impatiently said it was too troublesome and told me to go in her place. The entire wedding was arranged in the style she liked. When I arrived at the venue, the salesperson handed me 2 contracts. One was mine, and the other belonged to Fernando. The bride's name was the same in both, Katerina. My hand holding the documents was slick with sweat, and I hurried to reassure myself it was only someone with the same name. But when I returned to the hospital, I saw every colleague with a bag of wedding candies. They surrounded Fernando, congratulating him on his marriage, and Katerina, leaning against the wall, her face blushing with shyness, eyes soft as she gazed at the men in the center of the crowd. In that moment, it felt like a scalpel pierced straight into my heart. The pain was suffocating. She turned her head and saw my reddened eyes, but there wasn't a trace of pity on her face. She only said faintly, "Signed already." I glanced at the crowd and spread the documents open before her. "Which one are you asking about? Mine, or Fernando's?" Hearing my questioning, Katerina frowned. "Whatever it is, we'll talk at home. I'll explain everything to you clearly. Everyone is celebrating now. Don't say things that ruin the mood." In that instant, I couldn't help but laugh. Ruin the mood, cause trouble. I never imagined that the woman who just days ago called me husband under the blankets would now stand before me and humiliate me. Perhaps my laugh stung her, because a trace of guilt flashed across Katerina's face as she softened her tone. Sorry, I didn't mean to sound harsh just now. Don't overthink it. I have another surgery to perform. Once I'm done, I'll come to your office. All right, Lucas. As she spoke, she lightly patted my arm. I brushed her hand away, suppressing the emotions surging inside, and turned to leave. I got it. My tone couldn't have been lighter. Katerina raised her hand as if to call me back, but she held herself back. In the office, I stared blankly at the medical chart in my hands, as if I couldn't recognize the words anymore. I don't know how long I waited until I finally heard a knock at the door outside. Come in. Katerina handed me a cup of coffee. Here, for you. I heard you have another surgery later, something to refresh you. I looked at the bare cup wall and gave a faint Fernando is my senior from university. His family is very traditional, pressuring him to get married. A few days ago, his mother threatened her life, so he begged me for help. I was afraid you'd overthink, so I didn't tell you. I sipped the coffee quietly, then asked slowly, so, did you two register the marriage? Katerina hesitated, then finally nodded. Afraid I would explode with questions, she quickly explained, don't worry. Once I meet his parents, I'll divorce him. Fernando isn't the type to pester endlessly, he promised me. Katerina sounded sincere, but I still couldn't accept it, because this was just too absurd. Seeing that I still had no reaction, she pulled out a pair of rings from her white coat and stared straight at me. Believe me, Lucas, the only person I love is you. I know you've been wrong during this time. Once this is over, we'll hold an even grander wedding. Before I could refuse, Katerina cheekily slipped the ring onto my ring finger. At the same time, she put on her own. Looking at the sparkling diamond ring on her hand, the weight in my heart felt a little lighter. Maybe it really was just helping someone out. But later, she never wore that ring again, always giving a flawless excuse, surgery. She and Fernando moved around the hospital like a real married couple. In the conference room, the office, the hallways, even the cafeteria, they were inseparable. They became the hospital's model couple. While I was reduced to being called the ex-husband guy behind my back, some even said I had always been nothing more than Katerina's simp. Just as I was about to clear things up, Fernando came to me himself, his hands in his pockets, his face mocking. He walked toward me step by step, full of provocation. Dr. Lucas, Katerina is my wife. I hope you won't bother her anymore. She already told me, if it weren't for you pestering her endlessly like a desperate simp, she would never have reluctantly gotten together with you. No wonder a relationship begged for in that way is so fragile. If I were you, I'd be smart enough to resign. My fingertips were already digging into my palms, but my expression remained calm. Dr. Fernando, I have no intention of resigning. You're not my superior, so you have no right to fire me. Instead of getting angry, Fernando laughed, pulling his hands out of his pockets and crossing them over his chest. Oh, is that so? Then let's make a bet. Let's see how you end up leaving this hospital. I ignored him and simply showed him the way out. That very day, I told Katerina about what happened. Who would have thought? Not only did she not believe me, she turned around and scolded me. I told you I'd divorce him. Why do you have to badmouth Fernando and even make up such a ridiculous lie to trick me? Besides, how could Fernando possibly force you to resign? Logically speaking, wouldn't it make more sense that you would want to push him out? Lucas, can you stop creating problems out of nothing? Right now, all I want is to focus on my career. If you can't support me like before, fine, but at least don't drag me down. Okay. I hung up the call, slipped the ring off my finger, and tossed it into the cabinet. Katerina was right, it was time to focus on my career, so matters of love could be set aside. 4 years, I had held myself back because of her, leaving my own career stagnant. I threw myself into preparing for the annual medical qualification exam. In the days that followed, Katerina never reached out to me, and I no longer sought her out. When we occasionally passed in the hallways, we were nothing more than strangers brushing past, no longer even colleagues. Finally, on the day of the exam, the director slammed the table in rage, because the paper I submitted was word for word identical to Fernando's. Faced with suspicion, I wasn't nervous. My ability was leagues beyond his, but no one in the room believed me. They handed me their phones. Apparently, Fernando had been posting his progress on WeChat every single day. In other words, the colleagues had witnessed the entire creation of his paper. In an instant, countless insults and jeers rained down on me. I looked past the crowd, my gaze landing on Katerina standing at the back, but she deliberately avoided my eyes. That single act confirmed my suspicion. The only person in the world who knew my computer password was Katerina. Even the password itself was her birthday. The evidence was undeniable. The director demoted me on the spot. but I paid no attention to him. I simply brushed past the crowd and walked toward Katerina. I turned her averted face back toward me and asked her word by word, "Katerina, do you also believe I plagiarized?" I caught the hesitation in her eyes clearly, but in the end, she bit her lip and forced out a single word, "Yes." I gave a short laugh and let go of her hand. When I turned back, my eyes were so red it felt like they might bleed. Seeing me like that, Katerina still couldn't help softly calling my name, but I didn't stop for even a step. I walked straight out of the conference room. From that day on, my colleagues gradually began to distance themselves from me. No one wanted to be associated with the plagiarist dog or the ex-husband guy. I didn't get angry. I just buried myself in work, shuttling between the office and the operating room. A demotion was nothing. I could climb back up slowly. Until that day, when the director threw a complaint letter right in my face. Someone had reported me for performing surgery while drunk, causing a medical accident. In that moment, I thought I'd gone insane. The words were human speech, but I couldn't understand a single one. "Director, you must be mistaken. The patient had congenital hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. He was already beyond saving when he was admitted." The director said nothing, only brought in a witness, the anesthetist from that surgery, a classmate of Fernando's. "Director, he's Fernando's classmate. We've had conflicts before. This has to be another setup against me." "Enough." Katerina pushed the door open, her eyes full of disgust as she looked at me. "What conflict? It's clearly just your one-sided grudge against Fernando." "Lucas, I thought you were only jealous of him, but I never imagined you could go this far. Do you know how serious it is to stir up rumors of medical malpractice? I never thought you'd gamble with a patient's life. A man like you isn't worthy of being a doctor, let alone my husband." I froze in place, my throat stabbed by 1,000 needles. Only after a long silence did I finally force out words. "So, in your heart, I'm the kind of man who would kill a patient out of pettiness." Katerina's breathing grew sharp, her gaze icy. "What else? I saw it myself. Our fridge at home is filled with liquor bottles." That one sentence sealed everything. The director issued my dismissal on the spot, and my colleagues spat their contempt at me. I staggered out of the hospital, but before I even reached the door, I was kicked to the ground by the grieving family who had heard the news. "You deserve to die. Why did you kill my son? Who told you to drink?" The woman kicked me again and again, her hand striking my face viciously. My vision blurred, but I still saw Katerina standing by the reception desk. She merely glanced at me indifferently before turning away into the elevator. Security finally stopped the woman, but it was already too late. My wrist was badly injured, though not completely ruined. I could no longer perform high-precision surgeries. Coupled with a ruined record from the medical scandal, my career in Beijing was finished. Harassed endlessly by the patient's family, I fled abroad. Before boarding the plane, a message popped up on my phone from Katerina. "What's with the ring in the cabinet? Are you still sulking? It's not that I didn't believe you last time. I just wanted you to reflect. Go to another hospital and be a good doctor. Stop making trouble." Pulling back from my thoughts, I looked at old Master Lin's children and said seriously, "Please don't disturb me again." Between Katerina, your Lin family, and me, there is no connection whatsoever. But old Master Lin acted as if he hadn't heard, continuing, "Katerina just finished a surgery. She's already on her way here. Oh, I forgot to mention, after you left she was transferred to Union Medical College Hospital. Now she's the youngest director there, earning millions a year. If you miss out on her, you'll never find someone so good again." At those words, I couldn't help but laugh. I raised my hand and shook the wedding ring on my finger. "Forgot to mention, I'm already married. And by the way, this ring cost Katerina 2 years' worth of salary." The room fell silent at once. The first to react was Katerina's younger sister, Lisa. She gave a cold laugh. "How could you possibly be married? Didn't you once say you'd only ever love my sister in this life? That ring of yours, probably just an online purchase for $1. Right? Maybe it even tastes sweet if you lick it." Old Master Lin also came back to his senses, frowning. "Lucas, is this something to joke about? Don't bother with such tricks. Katerina is generous. She's already forgiven you. As long as you nod your head later, you can be our Lin family's son-in-law. From then on, you'll live in comfort and never worry about food or clothing. If it weren't for Katerina being so lovesick for you, I wouldn't even want a son-in-law like you." Hearing these cutting words, my heart remained completely calm. I only glanced at my watch, checking the time. Cammy should be arriving soon. I had to leave quickly. With her identity, she couldn't linger too long at the airport. But seeing my movements, they instantly curled their lips, still pretending to be tough. Obviously you can't wait for my sister to show up. Ugh. Just thinking about having a brother-in-law like you annoys me. I miss Fernando more. Still don't know why my sister would divorce such an outstanding man like him." Lisa crossed her arms, looking at me with provocation. The way she looked was exactly like Fernando back then. No wonder they got along so well. But none of that had anything to do with me. I had to go. Sorry, everyone. I have something else to attend to. Please excuse me. As soon as I finished, I turned around, only to see someone standing frozen at the doorway. Katerina. Her white coat still stained with blood, clearly having rushed straight over from surgery. She really had grown much thinner over these years. It seemed the past 3 years hadn't treated her well. Katerina let go of the doorknob, her trembling hand lifting to touch my cheek. Her touch was so gentle, so cautious. Lucas, I've missed you so much. I brushed her hand away, my tone cold yet still polite. Long time no see. The light that had just flickered in Katerina's eyes instantly went out. Her eyes reddened, her voice shaking. Why are you talking to me like this? Are you still blaming me? I shook my head, though my tone grew increasingly impatient. Katerina, what would I blame you for? For stealing my paper and giving it to Fernando? At that name, a flash of panic crossed Katerina's face. Lucas, I was wrong to do that, but I did it to help you. Fernando told me you had performed surgery after drinking. If I didn't do that, he said he'd call the police. So I gave a knowing laugh. So that was the truth. Help me. Did I do something wrong that required your help? You should have let him report it. Then I wouldn't have been ruined by a fool like you. You don't need to apologize to me, because I won't accept it. Justice that comes too late is worthless. Katerina, I'm not someone who lives in the past. 3 years is enough, for love or for hate. It's all over. A flicker of confusion passed through her eyes. She didn't understand what I meant. I couldn't be bothered to explain. I walked straight toward the door, but she clutched my arm tightly. The old injury throbbed faintly. This can't be let go. Katerina's voice broke as she spoke, suddenly raising her volume and startling everyone nearby. Perhaps realizing her outburst, she softened her tone. I can't let this go. Lucas, can we start over? She pulled 2 matching rings from her pocket, bigger and brighter than the one she'd had custom made before. I didn't wear a ring because of surgeries. This time I've thought it through. Work is work. Life is life. So, Lucas, will you put this back on my finger for me? No, I said calmly. A deep sadness appeared in her eyes, but before she could speak, the lids couldn't help themselves. Katerina, why be so humbling? Refusing you would be his loss. Yes sis, why stick to him? He's not some rich playboy. Enough. Katerina turned and rebuked them, then stole a cautious glance at me. Seeing I didn't respond, she breathed a sigh of relief. I asked you all here to buy time, not to muddy the waters. I will only ever marry him in this life. Everyone fell silent. Old Master Lin stormed off in anger. Katerina didn't care. She turned back to me. Lucas, is it that you don't like the ring style? We can go pick one out together. You're imagining things. It's my hand that can't fit it anymore. Katerina, I'm married. At that, Katerina swayed, and the ring in her hand slipped to the floor with a crisp clink. Married? That's impossible. It's only been 3 years. How could it? Lucas, don't joke about something as big as marriage. Please. Are you lying to me? You're saying that just to get at me. Right. Huh? Looking at the urgency and sorrow in her eyes felt strange to me. I had never seen her look at anyone like that. The old Katerina had been arrogant, indifferent to me, never so humble. Lucas, I already agreed to your proposal. Why did you go back on your word? When I heard the word, go back on your word, I let out a short laugh and shook my head repeatedly. In Katerina's eyes, I was always the one at fault, then and now. Go back on my word. Weren't you the one treating marriage like a joke, leaving me to marry someone else? Katerina's body stiffened. She grabbed my arm and hurriedly explained. Lucas, that's not how it was. Not long after you left, I divorced him. Nothing ever happened between us. You have to believe me. I shrugged off her hand. Any patience I had was gone. Enough. I don't care about any of that. My wife has been waiting for me a long time. I need to go. As for you, I'm a traditional man. I won't marry a woman who's been married before. After I slammed the door, she chased after me again and grabbed my wrist. Katerina, have you had enough? Maybe my voice was too cold. She recoiled like she'd been shocked and muttered a soft sorry. I ignored her and walked on. Her footsteps faltered behind me. I sighed. Fine, if she wanted to make a scene, let her. I hadn't realized she could be so persistent. I checked my phone and saw several missed calls. Great, Camila was about to make a fuss again. I was about to call her back when a woman in a beige trench coat strolled toward me, cradling an adorable chubby baby. She wore a mask and sunglasses that covered most of her face. Sis, quick, take a pic. This person is more of a star than an actress. Honestly, more elegant than film queen Camila. The baby is so cute. Her mom must have saved the galaxy in a past life. Ah, I want to possess that child's soul. People around them all turned, eyes glued to the woman, but her gaze fixed on only one person. Husband, why didn't you pick up? I was so worried. Her voice was 99% aggrieved and 1% playful. Under everyone's stunned stares, I reached up and affectionately ruffled her hair. Didn't we agree not to bring the little one He's still so small. Camila was about to answer when the baby let out a soft, gooey sound. Duh, duh. It was the baby's first words. Duh, Dad. I froze in surprise. Camila seized the moment and quickly shifted the blame. See, husband. He insisted on coming. I laughed. Camila nestled into my arms and purred in a teasing tone. Honey, I've missed you so much. I couldn't see her full smile behind the mask, but I could hear it in her voice, and my heart skipped a beat. Even after all these years, Camila's sweetness was like honey. She looped her arm through mine and rested her head on my shoulder. Let's go. Husband, you've been away so long. I had my uncle cook spicy Sichuan to wake up your appetite. I had just taken a step when a loud voice rang out from behind. Lucas. Wah. The baby was startled and burst into loud crying. Camila hurriedly scooped up the dropped pacifier and cooed softly. I pulled a small bell from my pocket. Little one. Look what this is. Ling. Ling. Dang dang. Wah. The crying got even louder. Camila snatched the bell away and thwacked my head playfully, scolding. I told you that trick doesn't work, and you still. Give me the baby. I'll soothe him. I pouted and stuffed the bell back into my pocket. She carefully picked up the baby, gently rocking him in her arms. Little one. Hush now. Mommy's here. Mommy's here. Woo. The baby's cries slowly faded, replaced by soft whimpers. I let out a breath of relief and reached up to ruffle Camila's hair. My wife always knows what to do. Then, with mock ferocity, I poked the air above the baby in her arms. Leo, you little rascal, acting like you don't even see your dad. He slapped my hand away, murmuring under her breath, childish. You're nearly 30 and still competing with a baby. The warmth of the scene stabbed Katerina like a knife. Her face darkened as she demanded, Lucas, have you acted enough? Her voice, paired with the memory of the baby's crying, irritated me. I snapped coldly, and have you lost your mind enough? Camila turned, sliding her sunglasses up slightly. Honey, do you know her? Katerina's eyes locked on her, brimming with hostility. Sensing it, Camila lifted her chin, and her aura instantly cooled. She looked Katerina up and down and spoke slowly. She's not really your wife, is she? You hate me so much you'd hire someone to trick me. Cover her face so tightly, afraid I might see the truth. That baby, just another prop. I was about to respond when Camila calmly stepped in front of me, shielding both me and the baby. Gone was her playful tone. Her voice turned razor sharp. Lady, did you just escape from the mental ward? She said it so matter-of-factly. It only infuriated Katerina more. She ground her teeth, spitting each word. You say that again. Camila gave a soft laugh. Oh, so you don't even understand plain speech. Lady, we don't have time for you. Dinner at home is getting cold, and I won't let my husband eat cold food. Katerina's glare grew icier as she shoved Camila aside and strode toward me. Lucas, we need to talk. But in the next instant, Camila shoved her back with force. So this is the actress you hired? Ugly, rude, and graceless too. But then Camila froze. She dialed a number on her phone. Director Law. It's me, Cami. You have a surgeon named Katerina, right? Please add her to the surgical schedule, 10 minutes from now. Katerina's pupils flickered violently. Cami, could it be? Camila's son. Impossible. Lucas couldn't possibly be connected to someone like her. But the next second, her phone buzzed in her pocket. Her face turned pale as she hung up, resentment written all over her. Camila, smiling faintly, pulled out a sanitizer spray and disinfected the hand that had touched Katerina. She was about to turn when Katerina's trembling voice rang out behind her. Do you know? Lucas once proposed to me, more than once. Camila paused for just a moment, then dove straight back into my arms. But no matter how calm she pretended to be, the sudden tightening of her arms around my waist betrayed her heart. I sighed deeply. If I wanted to keep things clean tonight, it was best to end this now. I handed the baby into Camila's arms, then stepped toward Katerina. Under her burning, desperate gaze, I raised my hand and slapped her hard across the face. Ah, Lucas, you hit me. She let out a sharp cry, wiped the corner of her mouth, and when she saw the blood on her fingertips, her face was filled with disbelief. Her eyes welled up with tears, overflowing with grief. That slap was the price for frightening my son. Yes, I did propose to you once, but who hasn't been blind a few times when they're young? Thanks to your leaving, I was able to meet such a good wife. Oh, and I forgot to mention, your new ring is still too small. It's not even half the size of the one I gave my wife. And lastly, my wife wears a mask not because she's ugly, but to protect me and our child. That's something a self-centered person like you will never understand. Katerina, if you harass us again, it won't just be an extra surgery on your schedule. Getting into Union Medical College wasn't easy, was it? That final sentence was a naked warning. Katerina seemed stunned, unable to react to the string of words. She stared blankly at the floor. Only after a long while did she finally force out a trembling sentence. Lucas, do you really hate me that much? Yes, not only do I hate you, I despise you, so get as far away from me as possible. With that, I turned, took Camilla's hand, and walked away without looking back. I thought those cruel words would make Katerina give up completely, but to my surprise, she shamelessly came to attend my lecture. Since I could no longer practice medicine, I had gone into teaching, from saving lives to teaching others how to save them. It had only been a few days since I last saw her, but she looked even more haggard, with dark circles under her eyes. During the entire lecture, Katerina's gaze never left me. When it ended and the hall emptied, only the two of us remained. She slowly descended the steps, each footfall making me increasingly irritated. Katerina, what exactly do you want? Her steps halted, and a trace of guilt flickered in her eyes. I just want to ask, why did you stop being a doctor? At that, I let out a mocking laugh and raised my right hand. Did you forget? Back then, you told me I should reflect. Well, this is the result of that reflection. Hearing this, Katerina staggered back 3 steps, repeating over and over, how could this be? I didn't know it would turn out like this. I thought since she was a woman, a few hits wouldn't matter. That light, careless sentence buried all the effort I had put into the first half of my life. When I learned that I would never again be able to practice medicine, I couldn't recover for a long time. In the end, I even took antidepressants for 2 years. Thinking of this now, the irritation in my heart had turned into sheer disgust. Katerina, if you don't want another slap, get out of my sight. Her body stiffened. I'm sorry, Lucas. Actually, I came here today to apologize. After what you said that day, I went back and asked that anesthetist about the incident. She admitted she only said those things because Fernando told her to. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I didn't know. Hearing her repeat, sorry, again and again stirred nothing in me. You remember what I said, but did you forget the rest? I told you, justice that comes late is worthless. Or do you think your flimsy apologies now can bring back my hand? Katerina's eyes flickered with pain as they fell on the scar across my wrist. Lucas, can't you give me another chance? Didn't you say it yourself, that people make mistakes when they're young? I was tricked by Fernando back then. He always seemed so gentle and refined in university. I never knew he'd turn out so vile. Slap. A searing slap landed across her face again. Katerina, can you go ask the anesthetist now and learn the truth? Why didn't you then? Was it impossible, or were you unwilling? Katerina shook her head frantically, clutching my arm. At the time I just suddenly remembered the bottles in our fridge. After all, you never drank before, and then during that period you started. Katerina, you know I only started drinking around then. She looked at me blankly, not understanding. I shrugged off her hand and said coldly, I drank because I was heartbroken. Every single bottle at home had your name on it. After saying that, I grabbed my bag and walked for the door. Then I heard a thud behind me. Katerina had dropped to her knees. She was crying so hard her face was streaked with tears. Lucas, I really love you. You have no idea how I've lived these 3 years. Every minute without you was unbearable. I miss you so much. Even hearing those mournful words, I did not turn back. I only asked, without looking at her, Katerina, did you ever truly love Fernando? The ring I threw away wasn't because I was sulking, and it wasn't because it was small. It was too big. Even if I'd been willing to wear it, it would have slipped off my finger. You're not an idiot. You should understand what I mean. So please, don't trouble me again. That final warning I gave you still stands. With that I left. I didn't see Katerina's face, but her wails echoed down the corridor, so I knew how she was. Outside the lecture hall, a familiar Ferrari waited. I got in and the mood in the car was off. Cold, very cold. Babe, what's wrong? Camilla's face was icy. Her tone was sharp. I saw her walk into the school. Did she come to bother you again? Yes, I confirmed. At my answer, Camilla's prepared speech snagged in her throat. What did she say? The same old lines. Forgive me, marry me. Camilla snorted, full of scorn. No new tricks, just the same old routine. And what did you say? She asked. I watched her grip the steering wheel and felt a smile tug at my mouth. She prompted. I said I'd think about it. As soon as the words left my mouth, Camilla ground her teeth and fixed me with a cold stare. Say it one more time, I said. Cammy, I love you too. Only you. If you hadn't taken me in when I was on the streets, I probably would have given up on myself. After meeting you I finally understood what being loved felt like. Her warm lips cut off my sentence. After a long moment Camilla turned red and looked away. You talk too much. I asked you to repeat a few words and you wrote me an essay. When did Professor Lucas get so passionate and dramatic? Her tone was flippant, always pretending not to care. But I knew she'd been anxious the moment she first saw Katerina. She started reading an overdramatic and angst-filled novel. A scene such as, what should I do if my husband's ex comes back and he doesn't want me anymore? Camilla, she was really adorable. What are you thinking about? Who are you thinking of? The one in front of me. I don't believe you. Prove it to me. Saying that, She pulled a row of condoms out of the glove compartment. After you use them, I'll believe you. My ears flushed red and I shoved her urgently. Leading lady. Not in the car. So what if it's in the car? It's not some cheap apartment. This is a villa. We have a private parking lot. So I gave in, and she was satisfied. After that day, Katerina stopped coming to find me. Whether she had truly given up or had been frightened off by the threats, I breathed a sigh of relief. Later I heard she spent a lot of money hiring detectives to track Fernando down. Something happened. I only learned that Fernando was hospitalized with serious injuries. I didn't pry. As long as she stopped bothering me, I didn't care. 3 months later, on my birthday, someone left a cup of coffee and a small cake at my door. A heart-shaped sticky note clung to the coffee. It read, "Happy birthday. I hope you have a lifetime of happiness." I crumpled the note and, along with the rest, tossed it into the trash. Then I went off toward my happiness.